Bet it up. Third time's a charm or nah? Is the third time a charm or no? Let's see if the third time is a charm or no. Mic check 1 2 1 2. SLOR discount. It's 2 weeks. Tell a friend. Third time's a charm. Fortnite Fridays. And Ostrich News. Mic check 1 2 1 2. Mic check 1 2 1 2. Bet it up, bet it up. Man, what? This shit's still messed up. Tell a friend. Third time's a charm. Fortnite Fridays. This shit's still tweet. It should level out though. It should level out. I'm not gonna cap. Bet it up, bet it up. Yeah, I knew it would level out. Man, what? This shit's still messed up. Yo, can you put in the chat if you can hear me? Can you hear me, chat? Can you hear me? I don't want to give up on you, chat. Can you hear me? My computer has been going through it. Alright, Twitch can hear me. YouTube. Should level out though. I mean, there's 3 people watching on YouTube. Can somebody tell me if you can hear me? Like, you don't gotta be incognito. Incognito. It's Fortnite Fridays, but we're going to start out with some Ostrich news, go over a couple of things in the industries of entertainment, fashion, and design, our core competencies, and yeah. And then we'll get into, I want to show you guys something about Nipsey, and then we're going to get into Fortnite Friday. So, welcome back to another segment of Silvy Said. This is the Fortnite Friday edition. However, we're doing something a little different because there are some hot topics, and I'm adding in the CTRL+S Save the Industry initiative into this week's Fortnite Friday because of the types of things that are happening in the industry, and I didn't cover them on Wednesday. So make sure we get into it because, like I said before, my stream was messing up, so you guys don't even know, like I said before, right? But at SLC Brands, our initiative is to enable our partners, members, and clients to grow, and enable the people that work alongside in our network to do what they love and have that support their lifestyle. That's it. So we take a positive approach to something that can traditionally be messy and has became a complete cesspool over the years, and that's news. It's different. You can't trust it, and it's just sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. I mean, but it can be harmful to your mental health when that's being shoved in there. Oh, this happened, this happened, this happened, and they want to make you care about it. Well, here we'll talk about things that are relevant to our interest, entertainment. So that's television, that's music, that's live shows, that's even our second screens, which is socials, right? So, and then design. I'm a fashion designer as well. SLOR drops. I'mSoSilvy.com. The brand new SLOR cakes are out now. I dropped 4 new colorways for you guys yesterday. Make sure you go check them out and rock them. You guys want to be the first ones in your city with these on. Trust me. It turns heads. That's why I'm going forward with it so hard, because I couldn't go anywhere without people letting me know how dope those shoes were. So yeah, I want you guys to feel like that as well. And design. With me being the owner of a creative agency, which is a conglomerate and parent company, entertainment hub as well, of 4 subsidiaries that do different things. One's a media one's a streaming platform, 2 are media companies, and one's a sports media company, and the other one is Brandish Apparel. So all that requires design, and my clients, they need branding and production. Like the SLC's main client is a brand, talent, or entity that needs branding, like a revamp essentially. Branding, rebrand, content marketing, and multimedia production. Those are the main overall SLC brand value props. So all of those things require me to use my design skills from the top level. So and whether I'm designing a business canvas, an activation for a client's product, or designing the actual product. So design's really important. So those are the things that matter to me. If you're wanting to build a brand, be an entrepreneur, and you're creative as well, this is where you want to be, because that's what we're going to be focusing on. If you're into entertainment and you want a deeper take, this is where you want to be, because that's what we're going to be focusing on. And yeah, so let's run it. Let's get started. You know how I start out. I'm So Silvy homepage. Oh, you guys aren't even here with me, man. Where you at? Where you at? Now the question is where I'm at. Where I'm at. Yeah. The audio better not be messed up either. I'd be pissed. You need branding. Boom. We're smooth. So, check it out. I'm So Silvy homepage. If you haven't yet, go subscribe to the I'm So Silvy homepage. Ostrich News is where we post our Ostrich News. Right now, a lot of people follow me because of my shorts. I got 20,000 subscribers, almost. Well, 19.7, right? The goal was 20,000 by April. However, when I started getting back on YouTube, when I did the SLOR season activation last September, this channel only had 1,000 subscribers, maybe, or like 900. I never been a big YouTube, because it's like giving out your stuff for free, and when you're a film executive producer, you know, you're putting out content, but it's in it through different avenues. But I came back to YouTube because it's important for me now that I have the season, the skills, the resources, and the dope products and dope output ready to deliver. Yeah, it's just a matter of getting it to the people. And 8 months later, 20,000 subscribers. If you ask like what's the average time it takes to get 20,000 subscribers, going to tell you like a year and a half, and that's going at like a consistent pace, the standard, the meta, right? And my whole thing is, if you don't know yet, I'm the type of person that like I sharpen my skills and I always raise my bar, but what other people consider the meta, what they're striving to be at, I'll hear it, I know it, but when I look at it, I'm looking down. It's just how my life has always been. I'm like a trailblazer. I'm not looking left and right. I'm curating it as I go. That's why I like hashtag curate the frequency. And yeah, I usually don't speak about these types of things, but I told myself I'm not going to be ashamed to tell my truth, absolute truth. So, and that's the type of things I want to share with you guys, in the name of doing something good, man, and learning and teaching. So, yeah. If you haven't yet, go subscribe. We're gonna go to the homepage. We're gonna start. Look, man, last Saturday, young Scooter. I think when he first got signed to R. Kelly Jr. rap career is over. How is R. Kelly Jr.'s rap career over when I didn't even know he was a rapper? See, that's the problem with Poetic Flacco. Like right now, he's on a run. He's posting more than I've ever seen him post. His following and his comments for his videos are, people are acknowledging that. They're like, "Oh man, he's on an academic run." Like, and me being in media, I know it's because he's got to pay the bills. No Jumper's got a lot going on right now, right? But I commend his output. But that's part of the saturation and the shallow stuff I was talking about. He's just telling you this stuff. We don't even know R. Kelly's son raps, bro. You're just putting out stuff to be putting it out. So, that's the difference here. Atlanta police investigate the death of young Scooter. So if you guys didn't know, young Scooter, oh man, he got killed on his birthday, man. And at first there was some confusion, a little bit of speculation as to how. And the next day, like, we were able to find out that a jealous girl that wasn't invited to his birthday party, a friend of young Scooter, his girlfriend was the jealous girl, called the police from Decatur. The party was downtown Atlanta. So, called the police from Decatur while she's on dispatch. Immediately, she had to be transferred to the district of where to Decatur, to the district of where the crime was. My bad, because she said the crime is XYZ. She said his address, and that should have been the dispatcher's first red flag. And we'll talk about that, like the standards of like, how could you not see this as a lie? She was saying all kinds of things like, there's 7 guys in the house with guns, there's a naked girl being dragged in the house, and now she's being dragged out the house, they're fighting, oh now there's a baby involved, they all live there, and like she's jumping around. She gets transferred to Grady, right? Grady's asking the standard questions. She's getting frustrated. She's trying to get the police to get there as fast as possible. She's like, "You got to get there. I don't know the answer to like basic questions, right?" But then she's like, they're in the house. Then she's like, "Oh, the head's bleeding," and then she's like, "Oh, I'm not around right now," and like getting frustrated. And the person at Grady is like, "Just answer to the best of your knowledge." And it's just terrible. I want to pull it up. Let me see. Young Scooter. Let me see. Dispatch call or whatever. What, I don't even know what to call it, right? Young scooter 911 calls lead to full. Right. So how long is this, bro? What?
Listen, if you've been in a car accident, don't call an attorney. Use this AI app instead. That's what I did, and that's how I got this $140,000 check in less than 30 seconds. Listen, I know it sounds crazy, but
Yeah,
trust
it
me.
sounds crazy.
Atlanta 911 operator 8715. What is the location of your emergency?
The location is
the cab with the transfer. 1 second, ma'am, for 273 William Nye Drive, Southeast.
273 William Nye.
Yeah.
No, it's 273 William. Oh, you said Nye, NYE, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you, the cab. Hello, caller.
You're welcome.
Hi.
Do you need police, fire, EMS?
Actually, both. If you could say both. There was literally a shooting. The house, literally the neighbors next door, the house of the address that I just gave you, the 273. There is literally a whole domestic dispute going on. There's like 7 guys that live in this house. And
What's your name?
I'm sorry. What is my name?
Okay. Okay. Tell me exactly what happened.
Okay, so I'm the neighborhood watch, and basically like I said, these guys they're like selling drugs in and out of the house. All you see is guys coming in and out of the house with guns and stuff. They holding guns in the air, and then it's like, I'm not sure if they're pimping,
Right, that's what I'm
but
saying.
it's the situation that's going on right now. This girl doesn't have on any clothes. They threw her outside. He was fighting the girl. He literally fought the girl. I'm not sure what they was fighting over. If they was fighting over drugs, that's what it sounded like. It sounded like they were fighting over drugs.
Like I said, y'all could tell she lying off rip, right? You heard them have to transfer. If you're watching this, why are you in Decatur? That was the first red flag. And the dispatch, I know they have to do their job, but they got to have like a training course or something to vet out the legitimacy. Because if, say, young Scooter did not fatally lose his life, but he was charged for like having weed on him or something, that all could have got thrown out after reviewing a blatant lie, you know, like. So they should be able to be like, yo, I'm gonna document how I feel about this call. They should be doing that.
And then they started shooting. She had someone come over there, and they started shooting. But the house needs to be investigated. They're definitely doing illegal stuff over there, and it's disturbing the area.
How many shots were fired?
I would say 3. It was 3 shots.
When did it happen?
It's happening now.
It was 3 shots. It's happening now. Like, she's trying to rush 12 over there. Mind you, her boyfriend's at the party. It hasn't started yet. And she's in another county acting like she's watching it. It's happening now. The dispatcher heard no bullets. Jealous girlfriend. We lost my man Trouble to
So I
some
believe the girl is hurt.
shit.
And they're coming from
you-
273 William Nye.
Look, I advise all my men, find a good woman, wife her up, and just do that, bro.
That's not, yes. And the girl is hurt because she was like bleeding profusely, like blood everywhere.
Okay. Do you see or hear anything else?
Yeah, she's trying to get away, and they're holding her. She's being held hostage. Like, she's trying to. They brought her. The guy that was fighting her, she ran outside naked, and then he was fighting her outside. And then there was another commotion. She tried to get away. He dragged her back in the house. So now they're at the door, literally fighting. She's trying to get out. And he's refusing to let her out. And it's like 7 guys in the house.
7 guys is crazy.
Okay. Give me one moment.
And she's taking her time. Like I think she know this girl is lying.
There's also a child in danger as well because she has a baby.
What? All right, yeah, she's clearly lying.
Okay,
Let's
you
move
said
on
the female
to this right here. So apparently, Young Thug, and we're gonna talk about Thug, right? Right. We're going to talk about Thug next. However, this isn't what we're gonna talk about regarding Thug. What we're gonna talk about regarding Thug, it says Young Thug claims autopsy proves that Scooter was shot before he died. Right? The girl we just saw, she lied. So when 12 came, they came prepared for 7 guys with fully automatic guns, like this girl said, and a woman and a baby in trouble. So they coming in hot. So the question is, did 12 shoot? Is that the question?
In Zone 3, officers responded to a dispute with a weapon. It was advised in the call remarks that shots were fired and a female was dragged back into the location. Once officers arrived, they knocked on the door. A male opened the door and immediately shut the door on the officers. The officers then established a perimeter. During the process of establishing the perimeter, 2 men...
Look, right there. Dude opened the door. Oh shit, it's 12. Close the door. Everybody do whatever they gotta do. Somebody should have been having a conversation in that meantime with 12. Like, trying to de-escalate this shit.
fled out of the rear of the house.
And not, instead of running, like they were called there under the impression that you have a baby and a lady in danger. You don't know what you're running from. So they're coming ready to what?
One male returned back into the house. The other male jumped 2 fences as he was fleeing. When officers located him on the other side of the fence, he appeared to have suffered an injury to his leg. Officers rendered aid, and he was transported to Grady Hospital, where he was pronounced deceased.
Yo, if my glasses were like doing jumping jacks every time I spoke, I just wouldn't wear them. Get some contact.
All right, so that was the cop's original statement when it came to this young Scooter case.
I remember that.
Claim they showed up, he took off running, jumped 2 fences, broke his leg, and died from his injury. Right? And pretty much since they told that story to the public, there has been a lot of speculation about what actually went down, from people saying that he shot himself, maybe one of his friends shot him, maybe the police shot him. Right? We're hearing all different types of theories about what supposedly went down. But as the days go on and time continues to progress, it looks like we may be getting closer to the truth, but not before more confusion is added into the story. Yesterday, we seen the 911 call get released from the lady who called the police and basically accused young Scooter and all of his homies that were there partying on his birthday of every crime under the sun, pretty much. She said that shots had been fired, a woman was being drugged back inside, there was a domestic dispute. She said the woman was naked. She said there were children involved. She didn't know if they was pimping. She didn't know if they was dealing. Right? It was a pretty outrageous call. If you haven't heard it, I highly suggest you just go back and watch it. It's on my channel. The whole call is.
And we already watched
all of this, and then when the police showed up, they found evidence of none of that. It's highly suspicious stuff, to say the least. And on top of that, it cost young Scooter his life. Right? Well, today it looks like we get a little bit more confusion because we got Young Thug coming out this morning, sending this tweet right here. He said the autopsy came back. Street got shot, and for those who don't know, Street is a name that Young Thug calls young Scooter. Right? But he said that the autopsy report came back, and it suggests that Scooter.
KB Goes Live is from Arkansas. I respect what he does. But Young Thug ain't the only one to call Young Scooter street. If you in A, you know, trouble is Scoob. Young Scooter street. Like, there's names that we call each other here, and then there's the name that y'all know. That's how, like if you walk up to Scooter and would have been like, yo, Young Scooter, he gonna look at you at like, oh, you don't know me, you fanning out. But if you straight, if you hold on, just to yeah. I was going to like, I have his number, but it's not saved. Like, his name isn't saved and shit. I didn't save it when I got it and shit.
Was indeed shot, even though the police denied that. In fact, the police's exact words were, nobody got shot during this incident. Right now, Young Thug, Young Scooter, they were close. We actually seen Young Scooter showing up to the YSL Rico trial to show his support for Young Thug while that whole thing was going on. They got a history together, right? So while I haven't personally seen the autopsy report and it hasn't been released to the public, you got Young Thug saying that he's at least heard that that's what the autopsy report says, and I would assume that maybe he got that from Young Scooter's family members or somebody close to him, right? Like,
mind y'all, this is prior to the Fannie Williams or Wallace, I think, for the DA of Atlanta trying to revoke Thug's freedom.
he would have access to that because they had a friendship. But all this does is just muddy the waters even more than it already was. Right now we got people demanding the body cam footage be released. We want to actually see the autopsy report because there's just too many strange things happening in this specific case to ignore. We need clarity. We need clarification about what's going on in this case. Is somebody lying? And if somebody's lying, who is lying? Right? Because everybody can't be telling the truth in this situation. It can't be that he didn't get shot, but he also did get shot. Only one of those things can be true. So we need the clarification on this situation, right? Because Young Thug isn't the only one suggesting this. Young Scooter's son, KB Jr., he's actually been vocal about this since it happened. In my first video about this, we went over the first couple of posts that he made, but he has since made more posts on his Instagram since then. Posts like this one right here, where he said, I was in the back of the police car and the police gonna say, I'm the one who was chasing your dad. He really got away from us when he jumped them 2 fences, but we heard him yelling and he had broken his leg. If he didn't break his leg, he would have just been gone. He said, I just told my grandma, like, me and your son the same person. Certain stuff we just ain't going for. I know what they did to him. I just said this last night. She wake me up this morning and say you was right. Folks hurt my whole family. They gotta feel this shit. So he's basically saying that this morning he was woken up by his grandma, and his grandma is confirming for him, you know, that it might not have just been the fence jumping that cost him his life. Maybe the autopsy report like Young Thug was referring to. Anyways, he continued. He said, I done seen bro jump 1,000 fences. He's talking about his dad. He said, how the hell this the only one that broke his leg? Now they want to tell the truth. I knew that was cap from the get-go. I know him like hell and he ain't going no other way. Basically still saying, you know, that there's no way that he died from a leg injury. And I do want to say that 11 Alive actually did an interview with an orthopedic doctor who clarified, you know, that this can happen if you break your femur and it hits your artery, but he called the situation rare.
Well, tonight the GBI is labeling the death of Atlanta rapper Young Scooter as an in-custody death. Despite initial unconfirmed reports that spread like wildfire, APD says their officers never fired a shot.
That's right, Angelina. Now, what I can tell you is the only injury mentioned by APD was to Young Scooter's leg. They say he fell after jumping over a couple of fences. Now, just hours ago, I spoke to an orthopedic surgeon to get some context to how a leg injury could possibly lead to death. which orthopedic surgeon Dr. Craig Weil says isn't impossible.
Well, the femoral artery is quite large, and it could, if you broke your femur and it broke badly enough, the ends of the femur fracture could be sharp enough to cut the artery.
As for the fall,
It'd have to be a very hard fall.
something you don't often see.
No, you don't. It's a relatively rare injury to have a femoral artery death. It's only about 10 to 15% of traumas, so it's not very high.
The Fulton County Medical Examiner says right now the cause and manner of death for a young Scooter is listed as undetermined. Of course, an autopsy is planned if it's not already been conducted. Now, the GBI is investigating this in-custody death, Angelina, and of course, the autopsy results will hinge a lot on how they rule this investigation.
Yeah, so as you can hear the doctor say, you know, this is roughly 10 to 15% of leg injuries that end like this right here, which is not a high number. It means that it is fairly rare for something like this to happen. Now, the only other information that I seen about this come out was actually from George Chitty, who we covered in my last video. He wrote an article about this supposedly incoming little baby RICO indictment, but in the same article, he talked about this young Scooter situation. Apparently, he went and investigated some of it, and he wrote this article, and in it, he says that he spoke to somebody named D, who is one of young Scooter's friends, and D told George that police basically held on to young Scooter for about 35 minutes before an ambulance arrived to give him aid. He said that after about 15 minutes, another police car pulled up right beside him. They picked young Scooter up and put him in the car, and then took him just a few feet away, and then took him back out of the car and put him back on the ground. So they moved him while he was injured. It says that the neighborhood has ring cameras, so there may be footage of that happening, but according to George, D's account of that specific thing happening couldn't be corroborated. He said D and him walked around the perimeter trying to get a better understanding of how young Scooter might have hurt himself. George said that the property had a wooded break nearby, and he could see a neighbor's wooden fence that had one slat partially dislodged. It could be possible that that's the fence that he hurt himself on. The investigation has been moved over to the George.
Man, I'm not trying to hear nobody read nothing off the paper. If you're going to talk about it, talk about it. It's ugly, man. I didn't see this. I didn't see this coming, bro. Not at all.
Do you want your videos to look like this?
Definitely.
Well, in just 14 days, we've taught all these people how to do it.
Man, no you didn't. Look. I definitely didn't see this coming. And definitely not this soon.
Burr was the YSL trial's highest profile defendant before he pled out. Last night, she took steps to send him back to jail and have his probation revoked. The Grammy-winning rapper was the YSL trial's highest profile defendant before he pled out on Halloween night. Fox 5's Tyler Fingert is live at the Fulton County Courthouse with the details. Tyler?
Yeah, Courtney, good evening to you. Fulton County District Attorney Fonnie Willis alleges that rapper Young Thug violated his probation. Her argument centers around a social media post. In a court filing of their own, Young Thug's attorneys are now firing back. A multi-year legal drama ended last October for Atlanta rapper Young Thug after 3 words.
I plead guilty.
On Halloween, Fulton County Superior Court Judge Paige Reese Whitaker sentenced Young Thug, whose real name is Jeffrey Williams, to 15 years of probation along with several conditions. But Fulton County District Attorney Fonnie Willis filed this motion Wednesday night to get it revoked, calling him a danger to public safety. The 14-page filing revolves around social media posts. Megan Grout.
That's the whole thing. Over a tweet? Like, didn't they just, like, I don't know if, did they pass the bill or not, or the law or not, about being able to use lyrics in court proceedings? I'm not sure, but there is something on Tubi we're going to watch next, and I think that breaks it down, but I get if someone's holding a stick in a social media post, it's evidence, or at least can be used to show the jury a particular narrative about the suspects or defendant. But a tweet, I personally don't know the context of the tweet, but there's no tweet that the DA should be reading and being like, I'm a revolt. He's a danger to society. Like, what was the tweet?
Social media posts. Megan Grout, who is a longtime criminal defense attorney not affiliated with the case, was shocked to read it.
You can't revoke someone's probation because you don't like what they've said.
According to the document, the DA alleges Williams' social media conduct has put the lives of a DA investigator and others in danger since his sentencing. One of her examples is a post from this week that has since been...
Oh, so now she's scared. That's all it is. She was coming to, I'ma clean up Atlanta, and look, I'm all for progression and positive stuff happening, and she had reasons, whatever, I get it, but the trial being so long and how it went, it's evident she was reaching. Your boy Woody was the only person to testify, like witness or whatever, and she was reaching. He didn't even, first of all, with no respect, Woody's even said it, like he hit his head when he's a kid, he got a check for disability or whatever it is. He's smart as an adult and stuff, but he really smart, because someone that was stereotyped to be disabled or not capable, I'm not trying to say the R word, but he finessed over the whole court thing, like, and everybody knows what happened. And I do believe Thug was kind of stuck in a hard place between being too cool to everybody and just trying to be like the person that other people wanted him to be, and feeling responsible, like, yeah, I gotta be like this, but his actions really showed otherwise. His lyrics didn't, but when you look at the Jeffrey album, the cover with him in the dress and the weird stuff he was doing in the middle 2010s, I feel like he was really trying to go the pop star route, but he was in the A and he really couldn't separate from it. He spent time during COVID over at my boy Chris Brown's house. I say my boy because he from Tappahannock, Virginia, you know, something in the water. But yeah, and I feel like that Thug was probably when after COVID, when he came back, he had Ski, like he understood what it was to make a pop song, finally make a hit. So, but the person before that, but he was still with the thing in Atlanta and.
Where he called the investigator, quote, biggest liar in the DA office, along with her picture. Willis says the investigator and her family.
So that's the tweet. Now, why do y'all think he posted that? Because did the DA comment on on Street? On Young Scooter? I don't think the DA commented on that. What is she lying about? Why he even say that? Just like in the last thing we spoke about with Young Scooter, it's not the fact that that happened to him. We need to identify why it happened. Don't run. That's my advice. Don't run. What are you running from? When you run from anything, a problem or the police, when it catches up to you, it's pissed that you ran, and especially in this situation, they're running after him under false pretenses. They don't know what really happened, and he doesn't even know what he's running from. Miscommunication and not being aligned kills everything, from your job to your relationship and to your frequency. Like you could ruin a situation that you didn't even know was going to happen with a stranger because you guys are unaligned. You gotta walk in it. It's all about the frequency. Don't run. Here, why did Thug say she's a liar? Because now look what's happening. If you know, put it in the chat. We gotta identify that. We'll talk about it on CTRL+S Save the Industry next week. We gotta get the answer.
received threats and doxxed on social media after the post. There was also an assassination threat made against DA Willis.
He is entitled to have...
Fans make threats all the time. People get doxxed all the time. Why is it because when it happens to her, of course that was going to happen to her? And you guys think that didn't happen to her or anybody involved in the trial during the trial? It happened to Woody. They didn't revoke his requirement to be up there because, you know,
And he's entitled to
they didn't care about his safety.
express it. What happened was other people then saw what he had expressed and took it to the next level.
Young Thug's attorney, Brian Steele, fired back in a court filing. He called the allegations baseless. He wrote, quote, Mr. Williams can admit to all of the allegations alleged and still not have violated any term of his probationary sentence, end quote. In a social media post, Young Thug says he doesn't make threats and would never condone threatening anyone.
The district attorney's office of Fulton County cannot put people in jail because they don't like what that person said.
That's what she
they
did,
have to follow the law just like the rest of us do. And that motion does not follow any law that I can find.
And about an hour ago, Judge Paige Reese Whitaker issued her order saying that...
Side note, that's downtown, right next to Underground Atlanta, where I was earlier for the 404-day Creator Lounge. Very proud of that because those 4 blocks right there were completely dead and empty, and people hadn't gone down there to for entertainment or for anything for 15 years. And 2021 Underground Atlanta was purchased by a guy named Chenille. He hired my company to revamp and rebrand it. It's a historical place, and people said it couldn't be done, and since I was able to do that, it's been popping every weekend. There's events there. People feel comfortable going down there, and that's what I mean when having an output that has positive impact, you know. And I just had to mention that because it all lines up. That's right next to where my office was, my second office. I had another one in the tower across the street, corner office and shit, but yeah.
Thug would not have...
And speaking of Fannie Will, she came to my door one day when I was moving out and going to the office. They were buying that unit or looking to buy it because it's right next to the courthouse. They were wanting more space, and she wanted to allocate a budget to something cool, historical, and thought she could get the space or whatever. However, I had the space or whatever, but I was moving to the tower, and I remember the leasing person walking them around. They were these black SUVs outside, and it was just like random because I always know what's going on there. Right there on the corner, right in the middle, cross section of Underground. And I'm playing music. They know I'm in there. I'm packing up too, and I hear him say something about oh, he's not gonna be there for long or whatever. And I wasn't. I was moving or whatever, but I was interested to know who the fuck was in my building, saying that, you know. So I'm confronted. So I go open the door and just look at him and shit. And then it's her, some bald guy, and the leasing person, and another lady. And they're like, oh, can we look inside? We just want to see how big it is. And I was like, no, it's not put together right now. I'm still packing up. They're like, we just want to see how big it is. And it's the biggest office in that building. The offices aren't that big in that building. It's over 100 years old. I believe it might even have been a old precinct or some shit. But so because they said what they said or had that energy outside my door in my spot, I was like, nah, hell no. And plus, this is SLC Brand's home office. I'm not letting anybody see it in disarray with box. You come in here, it's a vibe, bro. So hell no. So when this case happened, I was like, oh shit, that's the same lady. But yeah, coincidence.
His probation revoked. In the order, she writes, quote, while the court does not find that the cited social media post rises to the level of a violation of defendant's probation, it may be prudent for defendant to exercise restraint regarding certain topics, end quote. Certainly interesting there. We're live in downtown Atlanta tonight. Tyler Fingert, Fox 5 News.
Yeah, so many intricacies of this case.
That's wild. So, does anybody know as of now, because that was yesterday, is Thug in jail? Back in court. Could lose probation, so he's not. Avoid jail's time. Judge declines to revoke young. Alright, so bullshit, right? Like, if there's no like evident law or clear law that he broke, or a condition of his probation terms or bond term, probation terms that he broke, then yeah, no, like, she's tripping, she's reaching, she's pissed though. Trust that she's looking at him with a microscope, because if that, man, what? But it's also interesting that she keeps trying to do X, Y, and Z, and it's not happening. It's not a good look for any leader, but you keep cashing checks that your eyes can't, whatever, you know, whatever the phrase, you know, you're trying to pick a fight, and it's not, they're not letting you have in it, and it's a fight where there's checks and balances, and people gotta see if who's right and who's wrong, and falling flat, man, she looking at him with a microscope. And when that first list came out of all the potential groups in Atlanta, and yeah, all the groups in Atlanta that had a RICO coming, the first one when they wrapped up Doug, 4PF was on there. Lil Baby was able to squiggle out. That's why he changed his name to Wham. He said, I'm not doing 4PF no more. He had just got some brand deals that year. His next album sounded mad different from all of his albums. He had that song that was, hey, shit so lit, can't put my fire. And the streets they ain't like down. Which affected his numbers. And then he had It's Only Me. I know that was before that. And he was right, because it was only him. But changed his name to Wham. And then he stopped wearing his jewelry. You don't see Baby with no jewelry after that, right? He had one song, They Think I'm Crazy, I Know What I'm Doing. Nobody listened to it. It was the first song where I'm like, oh damn, it's not tight. But I'm gonna listen to it. But the message isn't tight. The song is tight, but you can't make a song about they think I'm crazy, I know what I'm doing. You're Lil Baby. Now you're telling the world that the narrative is there's some people that think you crazy. And they might, because now look, anyway, with that said, now Lil Baby is in the crosshairs, and I didn't want to see that one. I don't want to see any of these. However, like, he squiggled through, but the DA's pissed, and she's trying to clap shit, so I guess. But is this a trick question? Because he came into Atlanta to go to court, didn't he violate a term of his probation conditions to not come into Atlanta? Maybe he could sue and be like, you forced me to do something that's against what you said I could. Man, this shit is a bunch of bullshit. Y'all just be safe, Brody. What we got? 4PF. At least he still has music videos type shit. Alright, this is tight. Vlad and Act on the Lil Baby shit. This is worth it.
Spring is here, and with it comes that fresh start feeling. Decluttering.
Resetting.
New season. Maybe you're feeling like you're already.
We don't need no better help. This type of year can bring pollen.
Yep. You could start. All right. Listen, I'll definitely say, and by the way, my man Vlad was getting me. Definitely, I had a little smudge. Maybe was it from food debris? I don't know what's going on.
No diddy.
Yo, what I'll say is, anytime Vlad goes on a promo run, Vlad, you got to be honest with me. You lay your clothes out on the bed the night before like it's the first day of school. Because Vlad be coming with the Burberry, coming with the drip.
Montclair this time.
Yeah, come on, man. Like,
see me on camera on show, though?
Yeah.
I had the mink on.
Nah, I seen.
I had the black mink on.
Who's the stylist?
Nah, nobody. Nobody, man. But
Hey.
I'm very picky about what I pick. You know what I'm saying? In terms of what I buy and so forth. Like, it's an interesting feeling. You know, like when we were coming up, and it's like, wow, I wish I had some Gucci sneakers.
First of all, no. Vlad, you're 50-some years old. We don't know what it was like when you was coming up. You're going to have to Act doesn't know what it was like when you was coming up. He wasn't even outside. Y'all are wildly two different people. But good at what you do in two different ways. But Act, we coming for you, dog.
Like, wow, like $1,500 sneakers, I can't afford that. Maybe one day. And now it's like you walk into a designer store and say, I can buy whatever I want, but I just don't like anything.
Yeah, that's how
You just walk out. Like that feeling is
you
priceless.
already done did that shit.
But you've
that
had
feeling. That's
now.
how it be for me.
Vlad, can we be honest? You've been okay. Maybe this level of opulence, not for like 10 years or whatever, but like you've been pretty decent off for a while.
Yeah.
You haven't ever had to be like, oh man, I'm paycheck to paycheck. Oh shit, it's thin.
Yeah, well, because I've been living below my means all these years, and I've been taking my profits from Vlad TV and putting them in the stock market, and that money
Stocks are down now.
Well, that's okay. I'm not selling, so it doesn't matter.
Okay, this is
It
true
only
too.
matters if you're selling.
True.
So that's cool. I wish I had more cash on hand to buy more stocks right now. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
I don't. But yeah, I've been taking my profits from Vlad TV and putting as much as I can into the stock market and doing that year after year after year. And you're talking about I was buying Google back in 2010. I was buying Amazon back in 2013. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like a lot of these stocks, they've been around in my portfolio for a long time. And this whole time, if you notice, like you never see me in like a Phantom. You've never seen me like.
Do you want to see how much money you're eligible for? If you were in a car crash within the last 2 years, that was not your
like constantly like have tons and tons of jewelry. I have like some nice pieces, but a lot of times like when I buy one watch, I'll like trade in other watches to get it, or stuff like that. So I've really been living below my means all these years. So when things get lean or whatever else, it's like, all right, that's cool. I got my base to, like, I'm not gonna go broke. So
Like,
it's,
you know
it's just,
damn well you spending some of that. Hey, let me tell you this, because I hate this about myself.
you have way more cars. Like I have one car.
Bro said he hate this about himself. Bro, don't ever say no shit like that. Think about the context in which you do speak about yourself. How could you hate something about yourself? You're the only one got the power to change it. Motherfucker, you retired?
I've got a Tesla Model X Plaid, which was $100,000. And that's it. That's my only car.
Vlad, niggas can tell you getting money because as the older you get, you've looked better with time. You know what I hate about me? Anytime they're running a story about me, they use the most unflattering photo.
They do that to me too.
I'm like, bruv.
You only got
the
bro. Act doesn't have flattering photos. Now that you mention it, yeah, all of your whenever we see something about Act, the photos aren't flattering because you're not flattering, bro. Like now that I'm looking at it, like what are you mad about?
I look bloated. There's like one picture always use when I came to your studio after being in the. So I was up with Uzi. You know that time. I was up with Uzi the entire night. I had to do Vlad in the morning. I don't even think I washed my face, bro. I just walked right into the interview. I didn't know my eyes. My eyes are kind of hanging. We got through it, but that photo is like the photo. They're like, this is the one to represent. I'm like, yo, can't we use the one where I'm looking a little fresh?
I mean,
it's your fault, dog. Like, I'm tired right now. I've been grinding all week. Like, but, I mean, shit. I wash my face. I make sure I'm, you know what I mean?
Hit up like Shade Room, a baller alert in the world. Sorry to say, listen.
But one thing about media, when you did something bad, you're going to get a fucked up picture. When you did something good, you're going to get that. Except for Ack. All of his pictures are trash.
Can you please stop using this 10-year-old photo of me? Like, go to my page and
not to be playing.
No, I'm serious.
They'll be playing those.
Yeah, I mean, like, just go to my page. I'm giving you permission. Take whatever photo, crop out the other person if you want, because I don't take a lot of solo pictures.
Yeah.
And just use that, please. Just stop using this 10-year-old photo of me in a white T-shirt. Like, you know.
They used to use that all the time.
Yeah.
That was like the
That's an example of alignment. Vlad had an issue that other people have. Ack said he has the issue too. The difference between them is Vlad chose to address it and get aligned. And I bet they changed it.
From MySpace picture. They would use it all the time. But man, listen, once again, you guys know, number one, this is the most repeat guest on Off the Record. We have DJ Vlad in the building, someone who, for the very first time, I had the opportunity to see in LA recently.
Yeah.
And now we're here back in New York, New Jersey.
A historic moment, by the way. Me, you, Adam 22, Whack 100, Troplo Ross, Remo, all in one room.
What were
all
you
of us
thinking?
getting along. Like, all of us cool with each other. No friction, nothing.
That is tight.
You know what's so funny?
Except for the Adam shit.
Like, even like media beefs and stuff like that. Most of the guys that kind of do what we do, there isn't like active beefs and animosity, right?
Yeah, except for a couple of bozos in radio.
Well, I don't count them. That's what I'm saying.
You talk about Charlamagne. Radio, they mad. They're upset. Because radio has always been a sweet job and revered, like, since the beginning of Mass Comm. You remember MTV's first video was television killed the radio star, and now it's, I wrote a song saying, never mind, I'll tell you what killed the regular star.
It's like the dudes who have individually built their platform.
Yeah.
No one feels like they have to be beefing with Vlad, because what Vlad does is so unique. It's his own thing. You're not like, yo, this nigga academic's just infringing on my fucking space. And I think that's where a lot of this competition comes from.
That's true. When you're doing your own thing, I mean, they're not gonna get mad. They're gonna try to take your sauce. That happens to me all the time. I stop getting angry about it. I'm just like, you can try. You look crazy, but it's odd seeing Ack say that the way he carries himself, because once they gave him the hat of, oh, you're in the top 3, he started acting like he was freaking Drake. Or the way he came at Meek Mill as a rapper, like, that's wild. And Ack wants to put himself in the space of a Vlad. But Ack is just someone that reported that some dudes in Chicago were killing themselves and called it the war in Chirac. While your boy was really in the war in Iraq, in the Air Force type shit. You're welcome for my service.
So when I see all of us in a room, I'm like, you know why it was dope? I'm like, oh, Vlad's gonna at one point, because we were talking about a no jumper Rico. It's like, Vlad is gonna do an amazing summary at some point of this whole situation. And that's what you're known for. You're good for that.
No, he's not. How are you going to sit there and tell Vlad in front of Vlad what he's known for and good at? When has Vlad done a summary or a YouTube essay on anything? He doesn't. He gets someone involved and interviews them and gets content out of them. That's not a summary. That's an interview.
But they're going to do what they do. Traplo Ross, he's good with documentaries. He's going to do what he does. And I think we got along all well. What did you think during the whole thing?
I mean, I was there for the whole time. I was there for like 2 hours. I wasn't really a fan of Wack kind of pressing Traplo Ross, you know, but
if you got Wack and Traplo Ross in the same room, yeah, Wack is pressing. Wack is Wack because he presses everything, man, and then he hides his hand, and then it's wild. But I respect what he does. I respect him being able to pivot. That's what I was going to say earlier about radio and why they're upset and kind of jealous. They wanted to hold on, like earlier when I was talking about the change in the industry and when it changed and why it changed, that paradox. They wanted to hold on when the industry pivoted. Some people saying relevant, radio's still relevant. And some people, like Steve Stow, when he pivoted, he didn't do what the other labels did. He was like, let me pivot. Let me get with SoundCloud and let me still leverage my radio connections. And he did it once with, I forgot the rapper's name because it wasn't effective. But he tried to pivot. And if you try to pivot in this industry, I respect you because first you have to. So if you're serious about doing anything and being a pillar and standing out in the industry, that in media, entertainment, whatever your core competency or passion is, you have to pivot because things always change. Right now, more rapid than ever. I'm blessed to be in the middle child position where I have these two perspectives and I'm positioned to do something that you guys will see. However, you got to pivot. I respect it. But yeah, I agree with Vlad. But Wack had to because Traplo Ross called Von a serial killer. Who else was going to speak up? He had to. He had to speak up in that room, and Ack is a coward for not.
You know, Ross is a man, and he needed to handle his business the way he wanted to handle it. You know,
I think that was antics.
It was somewhat antics.
It was antics.
You know, but from what I understand, they're still kind of going at it a little. I mean, not going at it, but I think like Wack is still like kind of harassing him a little bit. From what I heard, it's like, all right, you know, but you have almost like with Wack, you kind of have to stand your ground with him for him to drop that routine. Right. And he saw with me, like, 'cause we didn't talk for 10 years. And he saw that I
That's because he comes from the gang culture. It's something about that where people are they're gonna test you to see how far they can get, which is dangerous in the first place. Especially when you're dealing with someone that's not from that culture and also not playing that game. It's like you might get caught off guard around this motherfucker.
Ground this whole time until it was time to do some business, and then he saw the way I approached him, and at that point, it became more of a mutual respect kind of thing.
And it's also a finesse because, see what happened? It turned to him being a nuisance essentially to getting his attention, and now he's like, it's mutual respect. So, I mean, there's always an angle, man. They press you. They want to see what you're made of, but that's for a reason. They want to see what they could get out of you. Man, don't talk to me, bro. I already know what you... Look, I'll come to you.
Been cool ever since. I think you kind of have to earn that with Wack to a certain degree.
Traplo, he hit me and he was just like, thanks for, you stuck up for me a little bit. And I said, listen, I didn't respond to him yet, but I in my mind, I'm looking at it to say, Wack is very smart. I knew him and you were going to squash y'all issues the more he realized how important you were. You see a lot of issues in hip-hop when people feel like you're insignificant.
Yeah, they can do whatever.
It's whatever.
Yeah.
That's not just in hip hop. That happens a lot of places, and it absolutely sucks. But when you prove, like, they be sick, they be sorry. They be sorry. I've had people apologize in front of rooms of their peers, like their peers having an intervention with them, letting them know how much they need to apologize and don't understand who I am, type shit. Real time. So it sucks. Like, y'all gotta embrace, like, people at the bottom compete, people at the top collaborate, and we're gonna vet out who's serious and who's not. Or if it's a fit, motherfucker could be serious, it might not be a fit. And I don't, the timing thing, people say is it's got to be in right time or in time. But a lot of things, if there's a common goal, execute it, create the time, make the time. If I hit somebody up or whatever, they say I'm busy, that means you're too busy for our common goal or whatever. I dead it. That's what you're saying to me.
When people feel you're important, like I've heard people tell me, they were like, yo, hey, you know this artist doesn't really like you. Like, privately, they talk shit about you. And sometimes they'll tell me, thinking I'm going to be like, really? I'm hurt. I said, I get it. That makes it even better. They can't go around it. You know? Like, that's just what it is. So, I think that's what happened with you.
Yeah.
Right? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think so.
These days, you get your full flowers, this and third. By the way, your last time we did your show,
Vlad's buying no jumper. All right, so we both know, right? We all know that you might not. Vlad's always been a mentor to Adam. Like, if there was no Vlad, Adam would have got ate up by the wolves a lot earlier. And I do believe Adam was being extorted. And I spoke on that a week ago. I'll speak on it again next week. However, yeah, like, that's wild. Like, he's buying no jumper. You think it's still going to be like Gangland? Lil Baby, possible indictment. I don't think. It's tough because Lil Baby can shoot a music video wherever he wants. I know the young man was 13 for a few hours. I know that the shooting happened because of a subset of Goodfellas was beefing with 4PF. However, it was not gang activity that led to that shooting directly from Baby. They're saying, like, oh, well, if he's the leader of this beefing entity, then we got to go after him, which is wild. But it shows us, like, they've targeted rappers, like they've all got wiped off one by one every quarter, every year for the past 4 or 5 years. Like, there's a unique gap in the market here right now. SLOR season album dropping May 11th. You already know we're coming with something very esoteric. That's what I was gonna say. I was gonna say eccentric and esoteric at the same time, but both. So yeah, we're gonna take advantage of that gap. We gotta really save what this genre. It might not be the hip hop we used to know. It won't be, because hip hop has never been the same thing. But how people consume it needs to change, which is why I have a patented way to deliver it, which is effective, which is what's gonna. So you guys be ready for that. If you want to get signed to Ostrich Records, be ready.
This episode or a segment for your YouTube masterclass program.
Right. Exactly. Which has been released to the masterclass members.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to break that down a bit because, as you know, we call you the godfather of new media. You have been progressive in how you did content from over 10 years ago, and we still see you're still pushing the boundaries Explain.
That's cap. I get that he's trying to throw the alley-oop, but Vlad has done the same format and formula since the beginning. And I feel like that's why his longevity has worked, because it was when it was a new early thing, people mess with Vlad. But, you know, French Montana did the DVDs, they had the Smack DVDs, but it was new. When the industry changed and the media had to change with it, his formula still worked. People wanting to get into it looked at his formula and used it as a blueprint. And then they started to hate on him and call him 12 and all that stuff. But he's still here because timing. Now, that's when timing is important in the essence of your journey. To me, timing is very important. Like I mentioned, with me being a middle child, the perspective of the two generations with my skill set, my experience, where I've been and where I'm going is very unique. I don't take it for granted. He was positioned well. Timing. Ahead of the curve, but not looking left and right. He did the same shit. That's interesting.
You're doing, and what's up with that?
Sure. So this is something I've been thinking about for a long time. For about 3 years, there's been a membership section on Vlad TV YouTube channel. So for $5 a month, you get the interviews on day one, the full interview. So for example, Tony Yayo, we did an interview yesterday. All the YouTube members get the full interview, the full 2-hour interview today. Whereas the public...
Bro got to go on a press run to promote his paywall. Like, he came to academics because he spoke about it. You guys probably don't know Bootleg Kev. He doesn't get a lot of views. However, he's been consistent and gets good artists, gets good talent on his show. But I think because it's corporate, it's like he does radio, but in that business canvas, they implemented interview style content, but radio never had a good relationship with the internet and YouTube. So he was backdooring his own industry and shit. But he asked Vlad a few years ago for Vlad to come on. Vlad said, no, I'll come on when it's time. So when he first started his press tour to sell his memberships, his master class, he spoke about that with Bootleg Kev. So now he's with ACT to do that. It's wild that you're the godfather of this thing, but now the industry's gotten so diluted down to a place where now you gotta go on a press run, bro, just to tell people that aren't even your target audience. People watch ACT, Bootleg Kev, and yourself to know about talent. They don't want to hear from you about how to do what you do. That's another market. Maybe he need to hire me to do his branding strategy. But
the first clip. I'll have to wait maybe a month by the time I get through 30 clips or so till the full interview drops. So if you don't want to wait, get a membership, boom, you watch the whole thing.
You got new Tony Yayo coming out?
Yeah, today. We just filmed yesterday.
He always got Tony Yayo. I like Tony Yayo.
I can't tell if, like, sometimes 50's trying to tell him, like, yo, stop doing Vlad.
Nah, I ran into
Not at all. 50 loves that Yayo does Vlad because it makes 50 look better. The way he gets up there and he talks about 50, like, oh, Fit. And 50 don't have to do that. That's the best. It's kind of like the best way to, like, run your brand when it comes to getting your name constantly out there without having to go do press. Like, he's got he still got the 50cent.com website or whatever. He's been on that media tip, but he doesn't have to put himself in a position where now he's on a camera and this video can go for free without a particular message that he's rolling out that'll benefit him financially. Nah, like his boy, his mans that can hype him up, make him look like the boss, the G, the hardest guy ever. Because that's how Yayo talks about Fifth when he's on Vlad. And he's on a monthly retainer with Vlad. Like, he gets paid just like Boosie does. But, yeah, nah. Axe got shit backwards, bro. Tell me if I'm wrong.
Plain.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, I was surprised. I just figured 50.
Really? Yeah, really.
It's private, right? But I was on my way to interview Quando Rondo.
Yeah.
And I had a connecting flight. I had to go to Houston first, and then that connected to Savannah, Georgia.
Yeah.
So I'm on a United flight. You know, I was in first class from LAX to Houston, and 50 walks in. And I'm like, oh, shit. Me and him know each other.
Yeah.
We've had conversations, like, whatever. So I'm
Do you do a temperature? Sometimes I gotta do a temperature check with these guys. You don't know if they really fuck with you.
Man, fuck that. Look, see, Act. I don't know if Act knows how, like, to move as an industry professional. I think him cooped up in that room behind that computer and that being how he, like, hacked his way into the industry with the complex, needed an internet person, so they went to him, so he got to skip some chapters. Anyway, because the things he's saying, like, you don't do a temperature check. Like, when people talk shit all the time, but when they see you in person, they know you about your business. They not about to, nah, ain't no temperature check to see if it's okay to talk. You go find out by talking to them. If something go left, you check it right there. What you scared of? Temperature check. You gonna pull out a thermometer and be like, "Hey, Fifth, can I put this under your tongue for a second and see, you know, if you don't like me enough for me to talk?"
Me and 50 don't have any reason to have any friction. And honestly, like, think about it. If 50 told Yayo, don't fuck with Vlad,
he wouldn't be on there.
You think Yayo would be like, I don't care, I'm gonna go fuck with Vlad anyways.
Hell no.
Don't take me on your world tours and everything.
Right.
You know, I mean, of course Yayo's not gonna listen to him, because that's the big homie, and that's where really all his income, you know, almost all his income comes from. So yeah,
What
absolutely. But I knew it wasn't serious, so I just walked up to 50. He had like his assistant with him. He didn't have security or anything else like that. And I'm like, 50's Vlad, what's up? He's like, oh, what's up? You know what I mean? We gave each other a pound, and I'm like, yo, Yayo keeps joking about how you hate him coming to my show. He goes, nah, I like him over there. You know, it's all good. It's all good. You know, and I'm like, yeah, I was supposed to go to your that whole thing that he had in Louisiana, Shreveport, you know, but he's like, oh no, you definitely got to come out next time, you know, I'm gonna have you like meet up with everyone and everything like that. Yeah, man, we shook hands. It's like, yo, you know, I'm like, congrats on everything. He's like, yo, thank you, you too. That's it. Went back to my seat, call up Yayo. I said, yo, I just ran into your big homie.
Yeah, yo, by the way, I got.
So he did exactly what I just said a real one would do. I don't think Act knows what's going on.
I think it is a positive for Fifth, because I think the way how Yayo uses his exposure on your platform, he's just giving Fifth his flowers all the time, and he's always speaking in favor for him. It's not like he's saying things that's getting people jammed up.
Every time. And I think 50 likes Yayo, you know, not depending on him for all his income. You see what I'm saying? I think that 50 would prefer Yayo to have more of his own business and everything else like that. So it's not always like, I'm depending on being the hype man on all the shows. Because, you know, I was in New Year's. I watched the 50 show in Vegas on New Year's.
How was it?
It was good. It was great, actually. Remember, there was a whole video.
Yo, there was a chick who was saying this was trash.
It was a great show. The whole crowd was in it. 50, like the stage show was great.
Bumping.
He had female dancers and male dancers.
Really?
So it's like there was a whole show, kind of like, you know, coordinated dancing around all the songs. Like there was videos everywhere with all this like computer like animation.
The production in that show was 50 arrived. Like, he had just bought the Louisiana shit. He went and did that Vegas show. That venue, you get that venue, you're like, what's the dude that died in the bathroom taking a shit? Elvis Presley type shit.
He went through his whole catalog, did a bunch of like more underground songs like Whoop Your Head Boy. Great show. The whole crowd was in it. Great. And Yayo and Murder was the hype man. Whole world tour. Yayo Murder was the hype man for all 50 shows.
Yeah, that's some extreme loyalty right there. Do you ever feel?
Yeah, but let me just say, and me and Yayo actually talked about this yesterday in our interview. And if you're a Vlad TV YouTube member, you can go watch it right now. Like Yayo was the one when there was a problem. Yayo would go handle it.
We know that.
I switched from due dates to due dates, and it made me go from weeks behind to weeks ahead of my deadlines. You see, I used to just bedrock.
You should have switched.
No.
Something happened. Something violent happened.
It's like an enforcer. Yeah.
Yayo is the one to go and handle it. People don't understand.
Is Vlad snitching right now? I mean, if you know, you know, but you don't gotta bring that up to a whole new internet audience. Like, his audience is the internet gossip, like, snitch audience. Like, they do research. Like, Fifth will shut the whole shit down like this. You might not want to.
Yayo's like 6'3". You think like these rappers are all small? Yayo's taller than me.
Yayo's 6'3"?
This picture. Okay, look, this was taken yesterday.
Silvy 6'4".
Most rappers are kind of scrawny.
Right. But I'm saying Tony Yayo. Look. Like we're like,
oh shit.
We're eye to eye. I'm 6'2".
Yeah, he's
like
small, dude.
He's a little taller than me, I think. I think he's like 6'3". So Yayo's not a little guy.
Hey, okay, so give me the update on this YouTube type of program where you know we've had this conversation.
They get so all these TikTok accounts and whatever, they clip up his content, they put it out and they push it, and they go back to him with the links. They run it through a.
We know. Well,
yeah.
I know. I'm not about to.
Trey, 9 Trey guys.
Listen to how to do a content strategy. If you want to know, join my membership. No, I'm just playing.
It's not me.
Well, SLCTV.VHX.TV. There is a segment on that OTT platform, which is my streaming platform. There's like 8 or 9 different types of shows. Some are edutainment, some are BTS of SLC projects, and some are fully produced shows about events and talent and the A. However, the edutainment, there's a series called Branding with Brandon. So if you want to know more about branding and the fundamentals of that, you'll find that there.
So I'm like, shit.
How late?
Huh?
How late?
Well, I think that once I realized, when it was supposed to start, that's when I realized, I thought it was an hour later. Ooh. So I was on my way. Okay, so.
I gotta hear this story.
Booker T, hold on. I gotta look up some of these names because there's other names. I'm gonna break something to you, which is actually kind of amusing. So.
Let's run it.
Back in like 2020, I think I had just interviewed Mark Henry, the wrestler, the former WWE champ.
Didn't he pass away?
No.
Oh, I'm tripping.
No.
Sorry.
Mark Henry's fine.
Don't be on
say
shit,
that.
bro.
Don't say that.
Maybe it's okay.
Protect Mark Henry at all costs. Yeah. Okay. So I did. So I'm not a huge wrestling guy, but I could interview anybody who's prominent and do the research behind them and so forth. So I'm like, okay, cool. And I'm like, who should I interview
Number
next?
one researcher in the game. You take that credit, right? You are. Right, like
I think so.
That people
when
know.
Vlad opens up that laptop, Vlad knew. Vlad knows
everything.
When we first ever did an interview, I said, any interview I do with you, got to do it in person. You're not going to do it behind the screen. And it really is because
every interview we've done has been in person.
Yeah, and it really is because I wanted to have a relationship with you as we're doing content not for the sake of content. We're doing content, but as friends.
Yeah.
And when Vlad opens that laptop up, he got an entire run of
You see how Act just try to make... You're doing that because you want to show people you're next to Vlad so you can look like you're on the same level as Vlad. It's evident when y'all talk that y'all are nowhere clear. But he says so we could be friends. What, from a producer standpoint, right? What justice does having 2 people instead of 1 people do that qualifies someone to be more of a friend? It doesn't tell that message. It tells the first one. Act be capping. I didn't come here today to analyze Act or come at Act. Like I said, we're all about positivity, identifying things that are happening in the industry of design, entertainment, and fashion, and dig deeper, go to the substance about it, find out why and where we can impact change. However, tonight we got Act on the screen, and he should be doing the same thing, being media, and it's just frustrating to see, like, fucking cap.
Like, you have a run of show on everything you want to hit.
It's not frustrating. I'm just not gonna hold my tongue.
A few current events. Let me get your opinion on this. Let me get this story. I'm going to extract this information, which no one else could get you to either open up about this way. You're really brilliant with the research you do.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
I know me, I do a lot of freestyle. Like the Ye stuff, I freestyle.
That's why we know you freestyle. You got lucky. They put you in a position. You've been trying to juggle it since.
Right.
I had like a couple names written down. I'm like,
oh yeah, I would have researched. I would have not slept if I had that interview lined up.
It was hard.
Speaking of freestyle, next week on CTRL+S Save the Industry, I have a talking point about how freestyling contributed to the downfall of hip hop, how we knew it between 2015 and 2025.
Okay, but back to the Booker T.
Booker T. So I just done Mark Henry, the interview did well, and I'm like, all right, let me do some more wrestlers. And I'm like, Booker T was coming up when I was researching. I'm like, okay, cool. I DM Booker T, and actually pull up the DMs just so, I'm accurate, because I posted these DMs at one point, after he said what he said.
Is this your new Marlon Wayans beef?
No, I don't think so. So, in 2020, I hit him up. I was interested in interviewing him. He's like, "Oh, what's up, bro? Definitely interested. What do you want to cover? I'm in Houston." And I'm like, "Oh, just your career. Okay, cool. You want to meet at my studio?" He's like, "Got it." He's like, "Thanks, bro. Really looking forward to it." Right? Mm-hmm.
What are you still doing here? You still have not downloaded Pi Adblock? You know I'm just gonna keep showing up on your screen until you download it.
The interview was scheduled, booked the studio, booked the cameraman. He showed up, and I had mixed up the times, so I was running late.
Damn.
I never do this. Like, literally,
you're very punctual. Definitely.
All my years, this is, I think, the only interview that this happened.
Yeah.
Because it's just not me.
Yeah.
So I'm like, shit.
How late?
Huh?
How late?
Well, I think that once I realized, I think I was, when it was supposed to start, that's when I realized, I thought it was an hour later. Ooh. So I was on my way. I was about 30 minutes away, but from what I understood, he got really pissed off. He stormed out of the studio. And I hit him up. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. He's like, "Oh, that's cool, bro. That's cool."
Like, you know, I be late all the time.
Look, and that's wild. Punctuality is so important. I've had that happen before. Being so busy and just like, especially when the 5 years I took to put SLC and the subsidiaries together, meetings were like a chore because I'm so hyper focused on making sure I do this and exercise every element required to enable this machine to run at the highest level. I'm hyper focused on that. But while I'm doing it, gaining tons of momentum. People want to meet with me. People want to, man, all type of meetings. I'm terrible with them. Terrible with them. Now that the thing is made, the business is running. All I have to do is, network, show up to meetings punctual, and put my work in, produce, output. But yeah, I would advise you, if you're in that state of mind where you're super focused, because those people, when that happens, you don't get a second chance. So some people were more important, or what we would have had a better meeting, or the meeting would have enabled probably me to accomplish something I was hyper focused on accomplishing. But and some of them probably wouldn't have been worth my time. However, I treated them the same, and I realized motherfuckers get pissed when when it's not even about not being on time. Like when you miss a commitment, because for me, my word is everything. But I don't know these people that want to meet me. That anger comes from how much they wanted to meet with me and it not happening. Now they feel played. The whole time, it's not even a factor in my brain. Like, I'm working, so it's like an alignment. That goes back to ensuring alignment. But yeah, people take it personal. A lot of people, when they want to be next to you, I experienced this a lot the past 5 years, and you don't acknowledge them, not because you don't want to, just I don't know you, and I don't know what you want to do with me. I'm working. The reason why you want to get next to me is the reason why you're upset that you're not next to me, because I'm working. You gotta wait till I'm ready. I guess timing in that matter. Yeah. You can't execute without both parties. But yeah, that shit, they get mad.
No, but I'm really sorry. I would not have booked the studio. I had a bunch of family drama. Like, you know, I booked this. I wouldn't book the studio and the cameraman to waste your time. I was like, oh, that's cool, bro. We'll reschedule. Didn't reschedule. I hit him up a few times. Listen, you know, I'll throw you some money. You know, whatever. He's like, no, I'm good. No, thank you. He was just still mad over that situation.
Principle.
I said, okay, cool. Never mentioned again. You know, these things sometimes
Did you
happen.
mention publicly?
No, never.
Oh, okay.
Never, ever. Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think I ever mentioned it publicly, and it was really like it was my fault, but he agreed to do it, and you know, there was no payments involved or whatever. I did offer to throw him some money after the fact for his waste of time, which, you know, and he just wasn't interested. I'm like, okay, that's cool.
That's OD, because Vlad went out of his way to like really show that he was like sorry, showed a lot of remorse there, offered bread, and off rip he hired cameramen. He was paying people to be there with you, and you stormed out. Vlad shouldn't have said sorry or none of that, all that shit. Cause now this man dubbing him out, and he's just trying to do the right thing. Already did the right thing, cause technically the production was ready. They were there getting paid. If that's happening, there's obviously an unusual situation going on. Hold up, Booker T, the wrestler. Tell your story. Ain't nobody else asked you about your story. I don't even know who you are. It's the Mohawk dude.
So, recently I interviewed Swerve Strickland, who is he was the former AEW champion. He was the first black AEW champion ever in the history of the company. And AEW is sort of like the big competitor to WWE. So, in the interview, he talked about, because Swerve was also in WWE at one point, but things didn't work out for him there, and he kind of said some negative things about the business over there and so forth. And as we're talking about this, I said, well, you know, Booker T made a comment about you saying, you know, essentially it wasn't like really negative. It was like, yo, I don't know what the problem is with Swerve. I've had a good situation over there. I don't know whether, you know, things just didn't work out for him and he's bitter about it, but, you know, I'm cool with WWE. You know, Booker had a lot of success over there. He was like a Hall of Famer over there, and I think a 5-time champ or something like that. So he said, well, he goes, Booker could say that, but what about the time that Vince McMahon used the N-word around him? And I'm like, oh, I didn't even know about that. And I looked it up.
Oh, yeah, right there. That's an infamous clip, yeah.
That's an infamous clip, right? He's talking to John Cena. He goes, yeah, what up, my N-word? Yeah. And then they zoom to Booker T.
What up,
and shows, and then they zoom to Booker T. And I guess there's another racist promo also that Booker was involved in.
I thought he knew that was going to happen, because most of the stuff is scripted, right?
Yes, but you could also decide whether you want to do it or not.
Oh, so I guess like over the years, people have been like ragging on him, like, "Yo, you let this guy, your white boss, call you the N-word," and
He could say, "I don't want to do the promo."
True.
Right? If you have morals and integrity, you could say, "No, you're not going to racially demean me on international television.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do
Type
it."
shit.
Okay, Now, you may worry you're going to lose your job if you do that, but that's where the integrity comes in, right? Like, I mean, for example, if you were told that, okay, we're going to put you on WWE, but a white man's going to call you the N-word.
Yeah, we're not doing it.
We're not doing it.
Yeah.
Right? Most black people that I know would just say no. I'm not doing it. But he decided to do it. Swerve mentioned that. I said, oh, okay, I didn't know that. And then boom, the conversation went to something else. So then Booker T does this whole video where I guess he ran into Swerve and he confronted him about that, right? And Swerve's like, yeah, he confronted me about it. I mean, I stood my ground. It's fine. He said what he said. I said what I said, because me and Swerve talked about this afterwards. So he makes a video. And he's like, I confronted Swerve about that. Swerve got played, and I would never do Vlad TV because Vlad TV gets black men locked up. He offered me money, and I still wouldn't do it. I don't fuck with Vlad TV, blah, blah. And I'm like, my man, you were at Vlad TV, ready to do an interview, and I showed up late.
Yeah.
You clearly forgot to mention that part.
Yeah.
To say you would never do Vlad TV when you were at Vlad TV is just ridiculous. It's just like you're you're lying at this point. And that's when I posted that stuff, right? And then he responded saying, if I'm lying, I'm dying. So he's showing the later DM saying, hey, man, I'm really sorry. Let's try to fix it. Because I was trying to fix it. It was my fault that I was late. I'm not ashamed of that. And he was like, I'm not interested. Okay, after the fact, after I was late, you weren't interested. But you were totally interested in the beginning for free to do it, right? So I'm like, okay, let's take it to the next level, right? Because
I like Petty Vlad.
Petty Vlad, right? So, hold on, let me find this tweet. Hold on,
bro, like Petty everything.
The whole thing,
bro. Petty. That's the opposite of what we're gonna do here, guys. Substance, betterment, community. Solutions.
Okay, here we go.
Rights and wrongs.
So, there was a picture that circulated, right? That everyone started tagging me with. It's this picture right here, right?
Yeah.
This is a picture of Booker T, and this is what I tweeted. I said, when Booker T isn't making up lies about refusing to do Vlad TV interviews, he's hanging out with his registered sex offender friend, Chasen Rants. Chasen was convicted of lewd and lascivious sexual battery with a victim who was 12 to 15 years old at the time.
Oh, nah.
And there's multiple.
Vlad is hitting low.
Yo.
Oh,
here's the actual registered sex offender
you put up
entry.
The Megan's Law website?
Yo, Megan's Law website. Here he is. His name, everything else like that.
He did
There's multiple pictures of them together at this guy's gym.
Holy shit.
Right? So then, Booker puts out a statement. It's like, when I do training camps at people's gyms, I don't do background research on them, and I had no idea about who this was, whatever. He did it like 4 times.
Yeah.
Everyone wrestling knows about this guy being a registered sex offender, right? He's like, and so forth. You know what happens the next day after I do this post?
Silver line.
Jason Ranch gets arrested for violating his guidelines of being a registered sex offender.
Really?
Damn,
Yes.
so he put somebody in jail.
Vlad, they gonna try to kill you,
He hangs out with an currently arrested registered sex offender.
Yo, Booker's probably heated right
He's
now.
living. I'm sure if he sees me, he's going to try to kill me, but whatever. I don't see how me and Booker go.
He doesn't live in LA, though. He's good.
Yeah,
Jeez.
he lives in Houston.
So he's tried to denounce it this and third. Have you guys still going back and forth? Or
I mean, when he put up that one tweet, he's like, "Oh, if I'm lying, I'm down." I'm like, "You are lying. Here's the original DM.
Yeah.
You were there. You were at my fucking studio." And on top of it, seriously, Booker T, who have I locked up? Who have I locked up based on my interview?
Well, now he's gonna say you got a sex offender friend locked up.
Yes. You're right. There we go. But I never interviewed him.
He's gonna be like, yo, Vlad, you're the
Matter
fans.
of fact, Booker T, you got your sex offender friend locked up because the publicity from you and him, which is what caused it to have the uproar on social
PO was
media.
just like,
to
oh,
the
shit,
point where the
forgot
PO
about this
was like,
nigga.
oh, I forgot about this motherfucker.
God damn.
Come on, man. You messing with someone who sexually assaulted a 12-year-old. Come on.
That's his homie?
It's not. Well, there's pictures together, multiple pictures together. Listen, man, like, I don't hang out with registered sex offenders, right? I just don't. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're an old friend of mine, I find out that's what happened to you, that's it. We're done. Like, you can't hang out with me. We can't take photos together.
Being on the
like,
website is crazy. Like, you got convicted of that, and that means you are on some shit.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. So he got arrested today. So yeah, maybe I got this guy arrested. Fine. I got a sexual predator off the street.
So no chance of you and Booker reconciling?
Absolutely there's a chance. It's on him.
Really?
Yeah, why wouldn't I?
Oh, okay.
Why wouldn't I? No, I mean, seriously, why wouldn't I?
I think he's upset.
Okay, so he'll show up. There'll be armed security, right? If he wants to lunge at me, it's out of my hands.
Am I trying to give you, what's his finishing move?
It's out
of my hands. What's Booker T's finishing move? Holy shit. I forgot what it is. Not a DDT.
No. That's someone else.
That's Diamond Dallas Page. Oh, man. Whatever his finishing move is,
was
man.
Booker T finish.
Watch out, lad. Yo, watch out. I'm thinking wrestlers could really fight in real life.
No, but I'm saying, like he could call me. We can get on the phone.
No, he's not getting on the phone with you after this.
Okay, so he's not. Oh, well.
He's not getting on your phone.
Like, who cares? Seriously, who cares?
Hey.
Who cares?
Speaking of which.
And I just want to say this. I didn't even say anything or do anything for my name to get thrown in this bullshit type of way. I just did an interview where I quoted something that Booker said to Swerve. I didn't make up the words. This wasn't a private conversation that I leaked out. This wasn't a personal text that I wasn't supposed to show him. He publicly said it. I repeated it just like every good interviewer does. And then he's mad at me over bringing the shit up.
No, I agree.
It's really just weak. It's weak. Just stand behind your shit. Listen, you let a man disrespect you. You let a white guy disrespect you for the money. You know what I mean? You do classes with a registered sex offender for the money. You know? That's where your moral compass is. It's right there. And it is what it is. It's not an opinion. It's the reality of who you are, and that's cool. Stand behind who you are. Don't get mad at me for telling you who you are when that's really who you are.
Hey, Petty Vlad is the Vlad who, which by the way, I think we've all gotten there, right? And of course, I got there too, where it's like, I remember like when artists were like either frustrated or whatever, it was like the line to be like, academics is this, academics is the police. And there was a time that you used to just not really respond to those things. Yeah. But then it builds like this strong narrative that people were just like, well, everybody says this guy's the police, so I'm just saying it too.
Yeah.
Right? And you become the person that they just kind of kick her back in. And until like I really started defending myself, and
do not buy 14-Day Filmmaker. Just listen to all of the terrible things that students in the program are saying.
And these rappers had to stop saying cliches that it's okay if fans are saying whatever, but when you're someone who maybe I've worked with, I've had an interaction with, when you're saying it, it's like, it's damaging.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you do get to that point. I know some people might be like, yo, Vlad, you're petty, you're doing a lot. Yo, someone using you and your reputation and just kicking it and just basically blaming you for things that they either don't want to be accountable for or they don't want to blame the other person for.
Yeah.
Like Booker could have came out and said, motherfucker, why are you even talking about that type of shit? Why are you talking about me like that? You know I'm sensitive about that if they had a relationship. He's not going to blame that guy. He's going to blame you.
We blame both of us. But I got thrown into the situation.
Well, he confronted him in person supposedly, and then
no, it wasn't supposedly. It happened.
But
I talked to Swerve about this.
But he throws you under the bus in the video,
right? And sometimes I'm gonna have Swerve back on my show again. You know,
Works.
we gonna keep. And in fact, like me and Swerve were talking. Swerve told me this is his biggest interview ever.
Really?
Yeah, I mean outside of the wrestling, you know, TV shows, but in terms of his various media, you know, appearances, this is his biggest interview. It's gotten the most heat. It's gotten the most controversy, whatever else. And so it's like, yo, hey, we do what we do. And he came in super humble. Yo, I've been a Vlad TV fan forever. When I was in the military, I used to always watch your shows. Like, this is truly an honor. I'm like, yo, man, like we had a cool vibe with each other. I'd rather fuck with Swerve than Booker T at this point. Swerve seems like a cool, put together dude, intelligent, you know, doesn't fly off the fucking handle, stands behind what he is. Booker just seems like a disaster.
So he got some roid rage going on. Hey, who you
roid
rather
rage going on? Is that what he said?
Who would you rather fuck with, Booker T or Peter Rosenberg? I seen that tweet too, man.
No. Booker T. I'd totally rather fuck with Booker T. Hey, and, you know, and Peter, here's the thing about Peter Rosenberg. He was out there, like I remember, I'm looking on Swerve Strickland's page, and he posts a pic of our interviews. Like, oh, yo, out now on Vlad TV. And Peter's like, oh, you working with the police now?
That's what he said in the comments?
That's what he said in the comments. And Swerve responds like, why would I care about, you know, police? Like, I don't do anything illegal. Like,
right.
I'm a working man. I was in the military. You know, I make an honest living. Like, I'm a wrestler. Like, whatever. Right? So then, I think I talked to you after that. I'm like, I'm not going to say nothing. And then when Booker posted his response to me, he was like, and I posted my DMs, he's like, oh, you're such a clown or something. He tweeted me, and I'm like, okay. All right.
You know.
Let's go. Let's go, Peter. Let's do this.
I'll definitely say this. And, you know, I mean, some people have tried to call me a bully, but I was thinking
shout out to Charlemagne, because he, like, right when I did that, he, like, screen captured and was like, yo, this is so true. He says so true about a lot of radio people. So what I tweeted, just so everyone knows what we're talking about right here, is for all of the up-and-coming hip-hop media outlets, look at Peter Rosenberg for what not to do. Same dead-end, low-paying radio job for 20 years. Never got a promotion. In fact, he got demoted when Ebro took the main position on the Hot 97 morning show. He spent 18 years uploading to his YouTube channel to only have 50,000 followers. Most of the videos he drops get less than 1,000 views.
Told you.
Hated on every new media person who came in the game. He hated on me. He hated on you.
Everybody.
He hated on Charlemagne. He hated on everybody. None of these people, like all the people in No Jumper, none of them are his friends. Hey. Hated on every single person, formed no relationship with any of us, and will ultimately retire broke and bitter. Mic drop.
I felt bad.
Am I right, though?
No, you're right. I had my run-in with him.
Yeah.
He had a show at Complex.
Right, which flopped.
Absolutely.
Which flopped. Yep.
And I remember, you know, they were trying to get me in the show. You know, I was always checking. I never got like really welcoming energy. You gave me welcoming energy from the moment I came in. This game, right?
Of course.
So I was always kind of
but
trying
not just you, everybody.
That's a fact.
Charlemagne, No Jumper, Traplo Rock, all these people, you know, everybody.
And so what happened with me and him was that, you know, I didn't, you know, sometimes these guys are like, well, I'm Rosenberg, you're supposed to. So I was like really kind of weary of him when he did come to Complex. Anyway, he goes on the show. He says this thing, yo, I seen academics at Complex. You look so scared. And I was just like, dude, if you were trying to have a relationship with me, why would you even go say some shit like that? Number two, I never talked to you ever. We saw each other maybe one time at Complex. And now you're really, because I guess, you know, maybe you don't agree with my ideology. And this is what I remember. This is what I know about old hip hop media and media personalities. Say because they disagree with me, they hate you. Like,
Oh no! Help me, please!
like, I could not agree with you about certain things. We've debated about things that we don't agree with. But do I use that to be like, Vlad's a piece of shit? No, that's what he does.
Yeah.
So what ended up happening, I remember we got into it and we got into some silly shit. I was like, bro, listen, we could box. I don't know what's up with you. We could do whatever. And I remember he sent me a DM. It was so long, but I left that interaction feeling bad because I remember I went on a rant on stream and I was just like, bro, like, you can't fuck with any of these independent guys. What are you talking about?
Right.
And he sent me a message. I want to read this thing. It's so pathetic.
Go ahead.
And he was like trying to convince me that he wasn't jealous, but it just reeked of. Let me see. Maybe you unsent it because I think after you might have unsent it.
Probably did.
Oh, okay.
You got it?
Oh yeah, I never even. He's like, because I was like, yo, listen, if you have that much of a problem, because I don't know you, but you seem like you're so anti me. So if you think I'm so scared of you because we've seen each other, I said, we could box. He's like, I'm not meeting you to fight. I have zero interest in that. He said, I have an interest in how you're taking advantage of your platform. I saw you big up and help a woman in Chicago. That's a start. But man, hip hop, blah, blah, blah. And this is what he says. He says, you could tell me to go fuck myself and that I'm hating. But do you think I want what you have? Do you think I want your bank account? I lived, and
well, that didn't age well.
Well, I was watching.
Yo, did Peter Rosenberg really try to money stunt on DJ Academics?
No, he didn't. What he was saying to me, that's why I felt bad for him, because he was saying, he was trying to say he wasn't jealous of me and my success, and I realized I was just like, this is a guy who, whatever. The reality of Peter Rosenberg is that. Charlamagne said on his podcast recently, you're one of the first hip hop podcasts.
Yes.
I believe
he was the first hip hop podcast.
Except everybody has passed you.
Everyone.
You showed Joe Budden how to record a podcast, and Joe Budden has a very successful podcast.
Yo, think about it. Vlad TV's been around for 18 years also. Me and him started our YouTube channels probably the same year. 50,000 followers, 6.1 million followers.
That eats at you. And that's what I realized. I'm like, yo, but the only thing I wish you would just take accountability, even with me, no matter what words we've shared or said to each other, it's not that I hate you, but you've been this person who have been an elitist, someone who feel that you always felt privileged because of maybe your hip hop knowledge or whatever, and you've always shitted on people.
Yeah.
Those people don't last. This is why the Vlads last. This is why Vlad is getting his flowers. Because when I was very new to the game, Vlad could have said, yo, this guy doing them voiceover videos, he's fucking trash. I hope no one likes this guy. You know what Vlad said? Yo, Act, I see you're doing your thing. If you ever need any help, I'm here.
Yep.
Anytime he was ever asked about me or he had to speak on me, this is before we got to know each other really personally. Right. It was always based on how our interactions were. It was always up on positive.
Yes.
That's not Peter Rosenberg.
No, Peter's what I consider the three bums of hip hop media. Three bums.
You know, one of our bums got saved.
Who?
Mark Lamont Hill got saved by Joe.
Okay, I'm not talking about him.
I was watching. I'm like, Joe, you sent him a life raft. He was drowning.
He was drowning.
I'm like,
Mark LaFlop Hill. No,
yes.
There was like the three musketeer bums, the three bumpketeers.
Who? Let's go. Oh, I like this.
Media.
There we go.
Peter Rosenberg is definitely one of them.
Of course.
Right? Like I said, I broke down why he's a bum, never successful at anything, hitting on everyone else.
By the way, when I read even that message, the whole point was, I am at the point with Peter. He still hates on me, but I feel bad because his legacy is going to get not whitewashed, but it's almost going to get ignored.
There is no legacy. He's a third mic on a morning show. Like, seriously.
Yeah, but it didn't have to be that. Like, no one really cares that much about you and hates you like that, which I can't understand why he's never reconciled and tried to be like, hey, listen, maybe I was a little bit too abrasive at times. Maybe I whatever. Like, yo, I see what you guys are doing the good. This is what I've never understood about guys like this. You see where you have eyes. You see where the landscape is going. Why not at least at some point try to pivot, try to embrace? If you did make a stance against these guys before, try to be like, hey, listen, yeah, I was tripping here, but let's try to come to an understanding. These guys are doubling down. Yo, he's the type of nigga to double down on bankruptcy. And I'm like, yo, bro. Like, come on.
Doubling down on bankruptcy. I love it.
Yo, Rosenberg could have been a guy who could have pivoted and even benefited from a lot of what we have going on, because I don't think it's not that deep, but they make it that deep. They make it that deep where.
That's exactly what I was just talking about. Radio guys not knowing how to pivot. I was just saying this. Man, Silvy Said, man. Proof in the pudding, man. Credible source.
You like seeing them being irrelevant and fail. It's not like I really don't give a fuck about him that much.
Yeah.
I do think he has great hip hop knowledge, but I'm telling you, he'll double down on bankruptcy. And I'm watching these guys, I'm like, when me and Vlad have conversations, it's so good.
And here's the problem with Peter, right? Because Peter was talking shit about me on Twitter. This was like maybe like 10 years ago. And then I saw him. I ran into him at a wrestling event.
Oh, really? Should give him a rock bottom.
Listen, it was me and my son at the time.
Yeah.
But I told my son, hey, just fall back. You know what I mean? Just like stay here. I'm gonna go talk to Peter by myself. I didn't want it to look like I'm rolling up on him too deep with like my goon, and I'm gonna try to intimidate him. I went to go talk to him by myself. Right? We sat down together. First thing he said is, "I'm sorry for what I said on Twitter. That's not me. I don't really beef with people like that. I apologize." I'm like, all right, that's cool. Cool. We had a cool little conversation. 2 weeks later, he's talking shit about me on Twitter again.
Upgrade your vocal mix from this.
This is the type of person that you can't respect, because they'll say whatever it is when you're in front of them to get out of that situation, then go back to how it is that they were before. There's no integrity. There's no honesty. There's no truth in what he does. That's why at that point I'm like, fuck him. He's a punk.
Yo, he sent me this message, and what was it, like last month? Like, I'm going through this drama, and there's so many people who...
I don't like flip-floppy people. I don't like Vlad just said, you got to be very wary of people that are flip-floppy like that. Like, somebody talk shit about somebody else to you, they are for sure talking about you when you're not there. People I respect and I want around in my circle are going to talk positively about me when I'm not there and shut down any bullshit being said about me or any narrative. Do what they got to do. I want Tony Ayo type without the enforcer. We don't need all that. But Tony Ayo do 50. I need about 3 of them. We up.
They're like, oh, we finally got him. He's out of here.
Where was I, though? Where was I saying to you?
No, of course.
Yeah, I was like, don't worry about it. It'll pass.
Listen,
we had dinner around that time.
No, of course. We were always...
But you're not going to know.
I saw him pop his head out, and it was just like, about time.
Yeah, right.
This motherfucker, his time has been... And I looked at it, and I'm going to be honest with you, I don't know where this is. Because I'm also a petty type of guy, but it does get to a certain point with certain people where there's so much losers. Yeah. Like, the reason why I'm speaking in this tone about Peter, I pity him. Like, I don't think he's a worthy adversary. I couldn't get anything off by going on a rant about him or whatever. I pity him, and actually, this is why I'm like, yo, Peter, bro, like, you could have just been cool, bro. Like,
yeah,
I do pity him at this point.
He could have actually been the biggest one of us right now.
Of course.
Because he was there first. He could have embraced all of us. He could have also pivoted. Like, seriously, right now, Peter, like, if you really want my advice... And I'm way more successful than you. I'm way more successful. Like, that's not even.
He needs to apply for a job. That's what he needs to do.
No, what he needs to do is,
apply at Vlad TV.
Why don't you just hit up all these people you shitted on and apologize to them and say, something, I was wrong. I was tripping. I was jealous. I was whatever. But and you'll see that some of these people would actually be like, all right, that's cool. Let's.
Yeah, people don't really care that much. Like,
I know they don't, but it'll put him in a better spot than he is now.
No, of course.
Right? Okay, so that's bum number 1.
Okay.
Right.
All right, let's get to the other
3 bums, the trifecta bums of hip hop.
The 3 busketeers.
Busketeers, right? Number 2.
All right, so Vlad's giving the 3 busketeers of hip hop. Like I said earlier, because I took a little recess. Radio guys failed to pivot during an essential time and when the industry and the music industry and technology was changing. Things were adapting in a way. They were away for a long time, and things were changing. There were certain people like Vlad pivoted. No, didn't pivot because of the uniqueness of his positioning. Certain people got lucky, like Mac, because the uniqueness of what was required and being tested by institutions that traditionally had the game on lock. they were confused and they just like, oh, we just need an internet guy. So like, he didn't have the skills to really do it, but it's really what put him on. So he said, so with that said, there are angry radio guys. Radio's angry because they waited too long. They wanted to hold on. Like, radio's not going to work. Radio's not going to. Look, I haven't listened to the radio since I graduated high school. I've always had an iPhone and an aux. I don't know about y'all. So, and that's before radio was worried. But look, they've always been radio. So that's an example of people thinking, oh, no, it's not going to change. It's not going to. Look, so they holding on. Plus, it's all they've ever done. It's all they know. They were afraid to pivot. Those that hated on the internet guys that were essentially doing what radio was known for doing, aside from spinning music, which is, I don't understand why they wouldn't pivot, because the retention factor is way more valuable on the internet side. You just spinning music. The artist and the label getting paid. You're basically working like a 9 to 5 to pay other people, like, but you're high off people knowing your name and hearing you between songs or on Breakfast Club. Those guys are hating on the internet guys. Certain old heads or veterans in the game their names will dissipate, and it's like, damn, homie, in high school you was the man, homie. Happened to you because they didn't pivot, they didn't embrace what was happening, regardless of who was doing it. The way it's being consumed has changed, and you're not involved in it. So unless someone of our caliber is gracious enough to put you on now, we gotta put them on now. They're out. It's never going back, and they can't relearn or make a new resume. We already know what you did. That's what kept you so hot. Everybody know but now what you did is irrelevant. You have no value. You can't bring it. And the only thing making you happy about that, feeling like a celebrity, but making $60,000 a year, was people knew your name. You get to hating on cats prematurely. It wasn't affecting your money yet, but now it's a dub. So Rosenberg was number 1. I agree.
Vanessa Satin, XXL.
Oh, y'all still, oh, really?
Well, I haven't talked to her in years.
Okay, so I know what you're talking about. I want to know why he thinks that.
By the way, I feel like me and XXL were kind of off at a point. I did speak to Vanessa, and she admitted, she said, listen, never really got to know you, and we started to at least text. I know for me, I feel like she judged me based on what she saw. And what's your issue?
Vanessa's always been very standoffish with me, right? I was cool with like some of the other Aquans and people like that at some other dudes at XXL. But her, she was always just sort of weird around me. But what happened was, me and you talked about this at one point. I was actually interested in possibly buying XXL, right? Before I did that,
does she own it?
No, she's an employee.
Nah,
really? No, it was owned by a media company originally. It was like a magazine company, Harris Publishing, at the time.
Look, like I don't know what he's talking about. I'm a lover, not a hater, bro. This is a positive platform, but I just gotta call a spade at every corner in this conversation. The caliber of talent in the field that they're both having to display right now is evident, and for him to be high off people calling a big three, like I said, bro, you got lucky, bro. Sitting next to Vlad, we talking facts, bro. Everybody don't know me for being vocal. I've expressed and impacted people via my creative output and endeavors for 15 years. I'm at a point where I can talk now. That's why I sound like seasoned, bro. But people don't know me for that. It's evident in this whole video, this whole stream, the things that I'm saying prior to them coming up, and then Act is out of the loop. So people don't know me for that. They know you for that, and you're out of the loop. What I tell y'all? Y'all need to come on over to SLOR season, SLC. I'm so Silvy. It's about that time. We're gonna run it up out the A. Entertainment Hub 2025 is up.
Publishing.
I thought it was hers.
Had, King Magazine, Harris Publishing. What else? Scratch Magazine or something. There's the fishing magazines. Like I used to, as a DJ, I used to go to XXL. They gave my my Tupac mixtape, like mixtape of the year or something like that. Yeah, like XXL was important media. Yeah. It was, once again, it would have been bigger than all this right now. And I remember I met Dennis Page was the.
They fumbled it. That freshman, that they pivoted. They were them. Source came for them. Complex even came for them. But they fumbled with their freestyles, and they just couldn't maintain paper, print, news. Like, things change.
Sure, her boss. And I'm like, hey, let's do some work together. You have a strong brand. My brand is up and coming. We're one of the biggest YouTube channels, whatever else. Because yeah, that sounds really interesting. Let's bring in Vanessa. I talk about it. Vanessa came in all fat and mad. She just sat there scowling, in the corner. And he's like, yeah, we already do that. Oh, what about no, we don't need him for that. And she's saying this in front of me, and I'm like,
really?
Okay.
Those type of people are terrible. Like, people that shut down potential collaborations that make sense to 1 out of 2. and sometimes 2 out of 3. It sounds like she had associates bringing Vlad to the table for this conversation. So she's terrible. Or threatened. That's weak. That's weak. I experienced a lot of people in the industry and like threatened, and it destroys the potential for greatness and productivity, because they shut it down at the door because they're threatened, and they feel so I don't know, they feel like so confident. I don't know why they feel confident that if they can contribute anything to this person, it's going to make them better, because you're threatened right now because you believe I'm already better. So it's like you're shutting yourself down, and usually if that happens, it's rare, and it's usually in a situation where, out of respect, I'm vetting. I know so much about people in the industry in Atlanta that, like, even in the nightlife, from just interviewing and stuff, but like I know so much about how they act and what it means and how they feel about each other. I probably know the most about how they really feel about each other, because in doing my recon, about building SLC, checking off all my boxes, I comb through to make sure when this train comes, I don't want to hit anybody that doesn't deserve it. And there's a couple people, their actions told me a lot, and the train is going flat. And you know, like when you used to put a penny on the train track, come back and it'd be flat. That's gonna happen. But I mean, I'm not trying to do it. I tried to save you. You deaded it at the door, dummy.
Have back. Ultimately, the company was sold to some like Spanish media company. She still, I believe, is the editor-in-chief. The brand has gone nowhere besides freshman cover. He's freshman cover, I don't think really has that much clout anymore. You know what I'm saying?
It's been a little bit. It's
like
different now.
Yeah, it's just like it's a dead company that's been under her helm this whole last decade. She's ran it into the ground.
So she's in a meeting with you, and she's just like shitting on everything.
Yeah, no, she looked angry, and I'm just thinking like, this is so stupid.
Dumb.
Like, this is so dumb. Like, you're print media. Like, the majority of your income comes from a paper fucking magazine. Like, you're really.
Look, I don't toot my own horn, but y'all cannot tell Silvy he does not know what he's talking about. Just said that shit. Man, y'all better third party validate this community. We're gonna turn up.
Going away. And here's a person. I'm not asking for money. I'm saying, let's work together because I respect your brand. I'm reading Double XL since the very first issue with Jake.
Trying to empower them and give them flowers, and they respond like that. Oh, you about to get eaten alive, bro. I was being nice. I'm usually not even like that. You don't want to see me with a little bit of resentment because you don't stand a chance.
Wow. The very first issue, I bought it open. Every single issue that came out, I read cover. That's how much of a fan I was. So I was just trying to do something, and her dumb ass just sat and hated. Well, Dennis like, well, she was really, so I guess, now that the conversation ended, went nowhere, company called something else, that's the end of that.
Dumb.
Wow. But here's who I consider the absolute biggest disappointment ever in hip-hop media.
The biggest bump.
The biggest bump in hip-hop media.
Like, guess who?
Watch him be way off type shit.
I don't know.
No, you don't know.
Julia Beverly, Ozone magazine.
Okay, now you're going back. Go ahead.
Ozone?
Yeah, I can't even look. That's some old head shit. Ozone. How is she the biggest bozo? See, this is that disconnect right there. This is what happened for him. This is his beef though, so I want to hear why. I bet it is reasonable and makes sense, but you know, damn, Act should have said a recent bozo. Did he eat a petty one? I want to know the bozo. I know the bozo is Act. What you mean?
Managed by the early 2000s, maybe no, by the mid 2000s.
I didn't know. Hey, if Vlad would have been like that's why I came here and shit. That would have been the hardest shit in the world, bro. It was like this whole time. You know what I mean? It wouldn't have been inappropriate. Like, the proof is in the pudding. Y'all watching him just be way off. It's a difference, but Vlad is embracing him and being a good person. And that's what you gotta do. You can't do lame shit.
Had taken magazine game.
But you can tell the truth. So, shit. Had I been right there, I'd be honest with you, bro. The biggest bozo, let me really think media. So, he says it's a big three. So, if you're gonna be the biggest bozo, let me start with the big three. Someone that don't go in the big three got lucky, and I don't fault him because I really feel like there's a gap in the market, and he's taking up people's attention and time and feeding people the wrong stuff the wrong way. So there's a gap there. We don't swipe that. But I also do know the amount of output and that big cosign he got because of the circumstances I named earlier with Complex made him be perceived that way. The corporate thought he had the internet because of Warren Chirac, but at that point in time, he didn't have the internet. He just had Warren Chirac, and everybody wasn't on Warren Chirac. There was a certain demographic of people who weren't the same target audience as Everyday Struggle. Bad call. Like I said, people were trying to figure it out. They made a quick call. They got Joe Budden. They got Whoopie Whoop, and Brody. Shout out to the Migos. I did a Culture 3 rollout at Underground Atlanta. Obviously, I was about to Shmine. What's his name?
Like, they were.
They had award shows as well?
Yes, they had those, right? They had award shows.
I remember
They
those.
should stack these matches I was give out to people like that. I thought I had a good relationship with Julia. And, like, They had Lil Wayne on every cover. They had fucking Plies when he was the hottest in smoke. Every major Jeezy was on every cover. Like, they had access to all the biggest Southern hip hop artists, and Southern hip hop was running hip hop for like a good 5 to 7 years.
Early 2004, 2005,
2007, like that whole era, they were killing it. They were the biggest. They're honestly more important than Double XL and Source at that time. And look what happened. Nothing. Another person who shitted on me around the time of Flat TV, like, there's a bunch of fuck shit that she did.
I feel like that's super subjective because I feel like they made him someone aspiring at that point to have those types of people on his show, and technically it's just a picture in a column. Like, they could have had those people on their magazine without ever being on the same continent, really. They just had a focus point on these types of artists. They could have took that picture in Louisiana. Somebody could have always got an album coming out. It was like, type of a column. That's how paper news is done. Like, they don't have more of a rapport with these artists. It doesn't make them more of a prestige. So he was infatuated by that. He got sold on that. Be careful, the South will sell you on some shit. Because I'm from Virginia and I'm based out of Atlanta. I rep the Southeast, but I never heard of Ozone the World. Ozone is the gravity-free jumping joint over by the, you know, like
it's just like that whole brand.
Maybe they pivoted. They went from magazines to, you know.
As big as it could have been at the most pivotal time. Yes. Yeah, she's just. Wait, she didn't respect. Nah, she didn't really fuck some legal fuck shit. Really, it wasn't necessary. It was over a situation she had nothing to do with. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, she did not have to fucking, you know, the aspects of the situation. But she did it anyway. You know what I'm saying? She did it anyways. And after that, I'm like, fuck this bitch. You know what I'm saying? And once the other person that knew me could work with me and so forth.
What happened? Like, respect nothing. She's still in music?
She wrote a book on Pimp C. That's the last I heard of her. She's a photographer, takes photos. Yep. Back then, I don't know if now, but that was the whole thing. She was a photographer, so she made her photography into a magazine, which was very successful. Also could be the premier hip-hop media outlet in 2025. It's dead to the point you don't even remember it.
Yeah, what is she doing now?
I don't know.
I want to have
no idea.
Damn, that's crazy.
I have no idea. I mean,
all right. Sounds like a bad fall off because I know a lot about it a lot. I've shown it throughout this stream, but Ozone, I remember hearing about an Ozone Award. But if it's really like Vlad said, then yeah, they obsolete. They done. But I want to know what they like. I want to know what made. I'm pretty sure it was personal. I feel like it gotta be super personal shit with Vlad.
Those are the three. Honestly, because those are the three biggest.
That's the list, you know. Hey, let's talk a little bit about. Yeah. Do you hear about the recall?
Well, I saw that video that's been circulating, right? Where like we played some phone technical.
I bet we're gonna get into that. Out of respect for Wim. You know, it's really we're not speculating, right, about the X, Y, and Z. Look, we still have to do Fortnite Friday. I mean, we ain't even get Fortnite yet. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna finish the stream up here. I appreciate you guys kicking it with me tonight. I hope you guys enjoyed the time with me. I'm gonna continue to put out content every weekday night, 9:30 or 10. I will be live with one of my shows. You guys subscribe, hit the bell, make sure you continue to stay tapped in. Spread the word too, man. If you got a question, inquiry, challenge it, make sure it's real, it works for you. Because once you're here, SLCTV.com, make sure you check it out. If you dig the SLOR cakes, I gave you guys 5 new colorways just yesterday, 10% discount. It's a discount code SLOR25. Get your 10% off. Really dope shoes. You do want to be the first one in your city with these shoes because they're taking over, no doubt. They are going to be the thing because they're just fly and fire. And that's other people's words, not mine. I just say it confidently now because too many people have expressed that to me. So I mean, widely available for you guys. And so that's another segment of Silvy Said. I'll catch you on the next one. Y'all have a blessed, productive weekend. I'm out. Matter of fact, hold on. That's another segment of Silvy Said. I appreciate you guys. Look, I'm Silvy.com. Go get you some SLOR kicks. I put out 5 new colorways just yesterday. Trust me, you do want to be the first person in your city with these on your feet. The feedback that I've gotten has been overwhelming, so I made it a point to take them widely available, make cooler designs. I'm very confident in this product being something huge, as well as this platform. I'm glad I was able to comb through some of this stuff tonight with these two guys to show you guys me in real time, and be able to, so you guys can just see like my knowledge on X, Y, and Z among a guy that got lucky and he's in media and an OG that has longevity because of the reasons I express and stuff. Digging deeper, the substance. That's what's about. Reasons why we're not just giving news. We're not putting people down talking shit about. We're uplifting. If there's a hot topic or a thing we got to speak about or address in one of the 3 industries of entertainment, fashion, and design, we're gonna cover it, find out what happened, why it happened, and how can we encourage and have an output